The Gray Man Season 1 Part 1 begins by showing a scene where a policewoman named Moore is on patrol with her fellow police officer named Charles in an old building, because recently there have been many missing people. While in a room, Moore met a young man named Alan Walker who wanted to take the cat behind her because the cat had swallowed a very valuable object to him. In the middle of the conversation, Moore suddenly heard Charles's screams from outside the room, and when she looked closer, she found that he was already tied to the pillars of the building with an asterisk on his face. Seconds later, Charles suddenly exploded and emitted toxic fumes that knocked Moore unconscious despite Alan's attempts to save her. When she awoke, she found herself already in her office. She then goes to the interrogation room where Alan is being questioned because the police suspect he was the cause of Officer Charles' death. Fortunately, Moore immediately helped Alan by saying he was not Charles' killer because she was also at the scene. Alan explains that Charles died due to the influence of a demon named Akuma. He knew a lot about such things because he was an official exorcist and his unusual-looking left hand was a weapon to kill demons. However, because the police chief still couldn't fully trust Alan, he ordered Moore to bring and keep an eye on Alan at her house. Upon arriving at Moore's house, Alan meets a man in a wheelchair named Mark, whom Moore calls her brother-in-law. She then asked Alan to explain what Akuma was and where it came from. He explains that Akuma is a weapon made by a demon named Shonen Hakushaku to seize the soul and form of the human being who is their target. In the middle of their conversation, Mark suddenly entered the room and changed into Akuma before finally attacking Moore. Luckily, Alan was able to save her from Akuma's attack even though they had to be thrown far away and shot into another building. Sadly, the white cat that Alan found earlier was not saved because it had been contaminated with Akuma's poison, and it didn't take long for the cat to explode. Alan told Moore that Mark had died and the person who was with them before was Akuma. Alan suspects that Hakushaku has managed to find despair and hatred in Mark, so he chooses Mark as his target. It turned out that several years ago, Mark had lost his lover, Kriya, in an accident on their wedding day, making him very sad. His desperation to see Kriya back alive is known by Hakushaku, so he takes advantage of the situation to force Mark to sell his soul. Hakushaku tricked him by saying he could bring her back to life if he was willing to sell his soul to Hakushaku. Then, Akuma got up and killed Mark and took over his body. To end Kriya and Mark's suffering, Alan fought against Akuma with his left hand until it was finally destroyed. After completing his mission, Alan said goodbye because he had to go somewhere with his flying golem, Timkampi. It turned out that the object previously swallowed by the white cat was Timkampi, so when the white cat exploded, he could be freed again. In the evening, Alan arrived at the headquarters of the Exorcist headquarters, where talented exorcists gathered located at the top of the Kuro no Kyodan mountain. He accidentally came to headquarters on the recommendation of one of the Exorcist generals, Cross Marion. After entering the building, Alan was greeted by a female exorcist named Lenali, and she asked how he knew General Cross. Alan confesses that he used to be an assistant to General Cross when he was on a mission to hunt Akuma in another country. Soon after, when Alan met Komui, Komui was interested in his left hand, then he tried to examine it. Upon closer inspection, he concluded that Alan's left hand came from the power of innocence. Innocence's power comes from the god crystals that the former exorcist used to defeat Hakushaku and Akuma. Therefore, the task of the exorcist from the headquarters is to collect the innocence crystal and find it before Hakushaku gets the innocence crystal. The next day, Alan gets an assignment from Komui to carry out his first mission with a male exorcist named Kanda. They were assigned to go to a city called Mater because the Finder team had detected the presence of innocence crystals in the city. Still, they had to move quickly because the Akuma had arrived in the city first. The Finder team is a team or member assigned to investigate the whereabouts of Innocence and Akuma. They are also assigned to accompany the Exorcist in carrying out the mission even though the Finders do not have Exorcist powers. In this mission, Kanda and Alan will be met by a male Finder named Toma, who will provide various important information on their mission. Toma explained that several years after the city of Mater was destroyed, there were rumors that there were ghosts who lived alone in the city. When Alan, Toma, and Kanda arrive in the city of Mater, they find several members of the Finder team who have been attacked by the Akumas while several other Finder members are protecting a woman and a man in a barrier cube. Then when Alan saw a big explosion and a Finder who was killed by an Akuma attack, he became angry and immediately attacked it. At the same time, Kanda will use his power of innocence in the form of a sword to defeat other Akuma, and with one slash of the sword, he can kill it. After that, he told Alan that he would take the two people previously protected by the Finder team to a safer place. Alan seems to have difficulty defeating the Akuma because it turns out that it is a level 2 Akuma who can imitate his form and abilities. After it managed to knock him down until he was unconscious, the Akuma immediately went after Timkampi and destroyed it. Unfortunately, when the Akuma was destroying Timkampi, it also managed to find Toma's hiding place. On the other hand, Kanda began to realize that the men and women were doll ghosts that the residents of Mater had made to sing and entertain them. After he found out that the heart of the doll ghost was the innocence crystal, Kanda also intended to take that heart. This frightened the man and woman, so they fled to another place while Kanda contacted Toma through his golem. Not long after, Toma came to Kanda's place carrying the fragments of Tinkampi's body, but it turned out that Tinkampi was able to get back up from the shards. Tinkampi then showed all the footage when Alan was fighting the level 2 Akuma, and Kanda concluded that the Akuma could only imitate Alan like a mirror. That means they can tell who the real Alan is and who the fake Alan is by seeing if their arms and eyes are upsides down from their usual positions. When Kanda was about to go out with Toma to find out where Alan was, they were suddenly surprised by the arrival of a fake Alan. When Kanda was about to kill the fake Alan, the real Alan suddenly appeared and blocked his attack while saying that the fake Alan was not Akuma. It turned out that the fake Alan was Toma, whose face had been changed by Akuma, while Toma, who was behind Kanda at that time, was the real Akuma. Realizing his disguise has been exposed, Akuma immediately attacks Kanda and intends to kill him. Fortunately, Alan could throw it far so he could take Toma and Kanda to another place to hide. On the other hand, the man and the woman who fled from Kanda are seen hiding in an old building. The man known as Guzal suddenly coughed blood because his illness worsened. He then lay on the lap of the girl he called Lala while listening to her melodious singing. Alan accidentally heard her singing voice, and he found them both through a secret door leading into the basement. Hearing Lala's familiar singing voice, Alan immediately realized that she was the real ghost of Mater. She then pleaded with him that she be allowed to accompany Guzal until the end because Guzal, who was seriously ill, would die in a few days. Lala explains why she cares so much and is attached to Guzal. She was once a doll made using the heart of innocence found by the residents of Mater City. She is made to be able to sing beautiful songs and entertain the residents so that they can forget the suffering in their lives. But after the residents flocked to move to another city, the doll was left without love and affection. Finally, Lala met Guzal a few years after the city was destroyed, and he became the only person who could accept her existence. From then on, they lived together in the city and cared for each other. Hearing this, Alan was willing to wait for Lala so that she could sing for Guzal in his last days. But Kanda, who heard this, refused her request. Then, the debate between Alan and Kanda happened. During the debate, Akuma suddenly appeared, who had previously imitated Alan and grabbed Lala's heart. Alan immediately fought against Akuma with his innocence power, which had evolved to level 2 with much greater strength. After a fierce battle, he finally managed to kill the level 2 Akuma and gave the heart to Lala as he had promised earlier. After 3 days of Alan and Kanda waiting, Guzal finally died in Lala's lap while she started to break down from continuing to sing non-stop. After thanking Alan, she fell into his arms, and he reluctantly took the heart from her body. The next day when Alan was about to return to headquarters with Toma, they stopped by a town and found a boy named Jean who was being bullied by Akuma. Luckily, Alan could detect Akuma's whereabouts with his left eye so he could know where it was. After he defeated it with one hit, Jean immediately realized he was an exorcist. Jean also knows a lot about Akuma, Exorcist, and even Hakushaku because his father is a demonological researcher who works at the Exorcist headquarters. Jean also admitted that he often goes around with his friend named Leo to investigate Akuma because he aspires to be able to create a tool that can destroy it. Hearing his words, Alan warned him to stop investigating Akuma because they were very dangerous, but he refused and ran away. After Jean left, Toma reminded Alan not to get involved in an issue unrelated to their mission. Because, seeing him worried about Jean, Toma intended to send a Finder member to watch over Jean. After Alan arrived at the headquarters, he gave the innocence crystal he had obtained from the previous mission to a sacred creature named Helveska. Helveska's job is to keep the innocence crystal until the 5 exorcist generals find the right person to use the innocence crystal as a weapon. After that, Alan went to the library to meet Jean's father, Jack Russell, and told him that recently Jean had been wandering around looking for Akuma. He hopes that Jack can warn Jean not to do that dangerous act. But seeing Jack, who looks indifferent and busy with his work, Alan decides to go see Jean's condition in person. Shortly after, Toma tells Linalee that they must immediately find Alan because the Finder assigned to guard Jean has been attacked by Akuma. On the other hand, Jean seemed to be playing with his best friend Leo at his house, but he began to feel something different from Leo's attitude. Jean thought Leo was still grieving because his mother had just died a few days ago. Jean then drew the face of Shonen Hakushaku to cheer him up, but he didn't look enthusiastic and instead asked Jean to go somewhere. Coinciding with that, Alan had arrived at Jean's house and asked about the whereabouts of the assistant robot at his house. But suddenly, Jean and Leo darted out of the house past Alan on roller skates to a place Leo wanted to visit. It turns out that Leo deliberately took Jean to a funeral on orders from Hakushaku. Hakushaku then explained that Leo had died since the day of his mother's funeral because he had sold his soul to resurrect his mother. At first, Jean didn't believe that Leo had turned into Akuma, but he eventually had to accept the fact that Leo had died when Leo suddenly turned into Akuma and prepared to attack him. Luckily, Alan arrived on time and immediately protected Jean with his body, which made him contaminated by Akuma's poison. Luckily, he could remove all the poison using the innocence power in his left arm. Seeing Alan's left arm and left eye, Hakushaku immediately recognized Alan as a child he had met a few years ago. He said that since childhood, people always ostracized him due to his left arm, which looks like a monster. Until one day, he met a man named Mana Walker who could accept him as he was, so Alan thought of Mana as his father. Not long after, when Mana died, Alan, who felt sad because the only family he had gone, was approached by Hakushaku. Alan, who at that time did not know anything, was deceived by his seduction so that he changed Mana's soul into Akuma. Strangely, the Akuma of Mana's soul seemed conscious and immediately scolded Alan for having the heart to turn him into Akuma. The Akuma attacked Alan's left eye and intended to kill him, but the innocence power in his left hand suddenly activated and instantly killed it. Hakushaku looked surprised because he had never seen the phenomenon before, so he ran away. Not long after, an exorcist currently known as General Cross came to Alan and calmed him. General Cross said that Alan should not feel guilty for killing the Akuma because he had actually freed Mana's soul from the Akuma. Then he invited Alan to join him to become an exorcist. Since then, Alan was determined to become an exorcist to atone for his mistakes that had turned Mana into Akuma. After explaining all that, the fight between Alan and Hakushaku resumed. Hakushaku summoned a lot of Akuma and shot straight at Jean, but Lenali, who happened to have arrived at the place, immediately shot up, using her innocence power to save Jean. After rescuing Jean, she could defeat several Akumas on the spot with lightning kicks from her innocence powers. Meanwhile, Jean, who didn't want his best friend to continue to be used by Hakushaku as a weapon, shouted and asked Alan to destroy all the Akuma so that Leo's soul could be freed. Hearing that, Alan immediately used one of his ultimate attacks, Crossgrave, which destroyed all Akuma in that place. Hakushaku again decided to run away from that place, saying they would meet again one day. The next day, Alan met Jack and conveyed a message from Jean that he would continue to study hard so that he could become a scientist like his father and go to his father's place of work. Hearing this, Jack looked touched and immediately realized his mistake to his son, so he intended to go back home and have a vacation with him. A few days later, Komui assigned Alan and Lenali to go to a town where time kept spinning on the same date and day. Komui suspects that there is innocence in the city, so the strange phenomenon occurs, making Alan and Lenali assigned to find the whereabouts of the innocents. When they arrived in front of the city gates, they met with Toma, who told him that finders could not enter the city and only people who had innocence power could pass through the city gates. After entering the city, Lenali and Alan split up to look for Innocence's whereabouts. Later, when Alan had separated from Lenali, he saw a woman named Miranda who scolded the boys because they had taunted her over and over 30 times. Hearing this, he realized that Miranda was the only person who knew that time in the city always revolved around the same date. But strangely, after 30 days of going through the same incident repeatedly, that day, she suddenly experienced something different than usual. When Miranda passed a small alley, an Akuma figure suddenly appeared and almost attacked her. Luckily, Alan knew about it and immediately attacked the Akuma using his left arm so he could save her. This is the end of The Gray Man Season 1 Part 1.